The Buddhist Monastic Code, Part 1, Rule Index, Right Speech. Majjhima Nikaya 117 defines wrong speech as lying, divisive speech, abusive speech, and idle chatter. Lying. Making an unfounded charge to a bhikkhu that he has committed a parajika offence in hopes of having him disrobed is a sangha disesa offence. Distorting the evidence while accusing a bhikkhu of having committed a parajika offence in hopes of having him disrobed is a sangha disesa offence. The intentional effort to misrepresent the truth to another individual is a parajika offence. Making an unfounded charge to a bhikkhu or getting someone else to make the charge to him that he is guilty of a sangha disesa offence is a pacittiya offence. Divisive speaking. Telling a bhikkhu about insulting remarks made by another bhikkhu in hopes of winning favour or causing a rift is a pacittiya offence. Abusive speech. An insult made with malicious intent to another bhikkhu is a pacittiya offence. Idle chatter. Visiting lay families without having informed an available bhikkhu before or after a meal to which one has been invited is a pacittiya offence, except during the robe season or any time one is making a robe. Entering a village, town or city during the period after noon until the following dawn without having taken leave of an available bhikkhu. Unless there is an emergency, it is a pacittiya offence. Right action. Majjhima Nikaya 117 defines wrong action as killing living beings, taking what is not given, and engaging in sexual misconduct. Killing. Intentionally bringing about the death of a human being, even if it is still a fetus, whether by killing the person, arranging for an assassin to kill the person, inciting the person to die, or describing the advantages of death, is a parajika offence. Pouring water that one knows to contain living beings or having it poured on a grass or clay is a pacittiya offence. Pouring into such water anything that would kill the beings or having it poured is also a pacittiya offence. Deliberately killing an animal or having it killed is a pacittiya offence. Using water or getting others to use it, knowing that it contains living beings that will die from that use is a pacittiya offence. Taking what is not given. The theft of anything worth 1/24 of an ounce of Troy gold or more is a parajika offence. Having given another bhikkhu a robe on a condition and then, angry and displeased, snatching it back or having it snatched back is a nisaggiya pacittiya offence. Making use of cloth or a bowl stored under shared ownership, unless the shared ownership has been rescinded or one is taking the item on trust, is a pacittiya offence. Sexual misconduct. Voluntary sexual intercourse, genital, anal or oral, with a human being, non-human being or common animal is a Patimokkha offence. Intentionally causing oneself to emit semen or getting someone else to cause one to emit semen, except during a dream, is a Sanghadisesa offence. Lustful bodily contact with a woman whom one perceives to be a woman is a Sanghadisesa offence. Making a lustful remark to a woman about her genitals, anus, or about performing sexual intercourse is a Sanghadisesa offence. Telling a woman that having sexual intercourse with a bhikkhu would be beneficial is a Sanghadisesa offence. Getting an unrelated bhikkhuni to wash, dye or beat a robe that has been used at least once is a Nisaya Giya Pachitya offence. Getting an unrelated bhikkhuni to wash, dye or card wool that has not been made into cloth or yarn is a Nisa Giya Pachitya offence. Lying down at the same time in the same lodging with a woman is a Pachitya offence. Teaching more than 6 sentences of Dhamma to a woman, except in response to a question, is a Pachitya offence unless a knowledgeable man is present. Exhorting a bhikkhuni about the 8 vows of respect, except when one has been authorized to do so by the community or asked a question by a bhikkhuni, is a Pachitya offence. Exhorting a bhikkhuni on any topic at all after sunset, except when she requests it, is a Pachitya offence. Going to the bhikkhuni's quarters and exhorting a bhikkhuni about the 8 vows of respect, except when she is ill or has requested the instruction, is a Pachitya offence. Giving robe cloth to an unrelated bhikkhuni without receiving anything in exchange is a Pachitya offence. Sewing a robe or having it sewn for an unrelated bhikkhuni is a Pachitya offence. Travelling by arrangement with a bhikkhuni from one village to another, except when the road is risky or there are other dangers, is a Pachitya offence. Travelling by arrangement with a bhikkhuni upriver or downriver in the same boat, except when crossing a river, is a Pachitya offence. When aiming at privacy, sitting or lying down alone with a bhikkhuni in an unsecluded but private place is a Pachitya offence. When aiming at privacy, sitting or lying down with a woman or woman in private, secluded place with no other man present is a Pachitya offence. When aiming at privacy, sitting or lying down alone with a woman in an unsecluded but private place is a Pachitya offence. Travelling by arrangement with a woman from one village to another is a Pachitya offence. Right livelihood. Majjhima Nikaya 117 defines wrong livelihood as scheming, persuading, hinting, belittling, and persuading gain with gain. Pursuing gain with gain. General. Deliberately lying to another person that one has attained a superior human state is a Parajika offence. Acting as a go-between to arrange a marriage, an affair or a date between a man and a woman not married to each other is a Sanghadisesa offence. Engaging in trade with anyone except one's co-religionist is a Nisagya Pachitya offence. Persuading a donor to give a gift to oneself, knowing that he or she had planned to give it to a community, is a Nisagya Pachitya offence. Telling an unordained person of one's actual superior human attainments is a Pachitya offence. Persuading a donor to give to another individual a gift that he or she had planned to give to a community, when one knows that it was intended for the community, is a Pachitya offence. Robes. Keeping a piece of robe cloth for more than 10 days without determining it for use or placing it under shared ownership, except when the robe season or katina privileges are in effect, is a Nisagya Pachitya offence. Being in a separate zone from any of one's 3 robes at dawn, except when one's katina privilege are in effect, or one has received formal authorization from the community, is a Nisagya Pachitya offence. Keeping out-of-season robe cloth for more than 30 days when it is not enough to make a requisite, and one has expectation for more, except when the robe season and katina privileges are in effect, is a Nisagya Pachitya offence. Accepting robe cloth from an unrelated bhikkhuni without giving her anything in exchange is a Nisagya Pachitya offence. Asking for and receiving robe cloth from an unrelated layperson, except when one's robes have been snatched away or destroyed, is a Nisagya Pachitya offence. Asking for and receiving excess robe cloth from unrelated lay people when one's robes have been snatched away or destroyed is a Nisagya Pachitya offence. When a layperson who is not a relative is planning to get robe cloth for one, but has yet to ask what kind of cloth one wants, receiving the cloth after making a request that would improve it is a Nisagya Pachitya offence. When 2 or more lay people who are not one's relatives are planning to get separate pieces of cloth for one, but have yet to ask what kind of cloth one wants, receiving cloth from them after asking them to pool their funds to get one piece of cloth out of a desire for something fine, is a Nisagya Pachitya offence. Making a felt blanket, rug with silk fixed in it for one's own use or having it made is a Nisagya Pachitya offence. Making a felt blanket, rug entirely of black wool for one's own use or having it made is a Nisagya Pachitya offence. Making a felt blanket rug that is more than 1/2 black wool for one's own use or having it made is a Nisagya Pachitya offence. Unless one has received authorization to do so from the community, making a felt blanket rug for one's own use or having it made less than 6 years after one's last one was made is a Nisagya Pachitya offence. Making a felt sitting rug for one's own use or having it made without incorporating a one-span piece of old felt is a nisa giya pachitya offence. Seeking and receiving a rains bathing cloth before the 4th month of the hot season is a nisa giya pachitya offence. Using a rains bathing cloth before the last 2 weeks of the 4th month of the hot season is also a nisa giya pachitya offence. Taking thread that one has asked for improperly and getting weavers to weave cloth from it when they are unrelated and have not made a previous offer to weave is a nisa giya pachitya offence. When donors who are not relatives and have not invited one to ask have arranged for weavers to weave robe cloth intended for one, receiving the cloth after getting the weavers to improve it is a nisa giya pachitya offence. Keeping robe cloth offered in urgency past the end of the robe season after having accepted it during the last 11 days of the rains residence is a nisa giya pachitya offence. When one is living in a dangerous wilderness abode during the month after the rains residence and has left one of one's robes in the village where one normally goes for alms, being away from the abode and the village for more than 6 nights at a stretch, except when authorized by the community, is a nisa giya pachitya offence. Wearing an unmarked robe is a pachitya offence. Obtaining an overly large sitting cloth after making it or having it made for one's own use is a pachitya offence, requiring that one cut the cloth down to size before confessing the offence. Obtaining an overly large skin eruption covering cloth after making it or having it made for one's own use is a pachitya offence, requiring that one cut the cloth down to size before confessing the offence. Obtaining an overly large rains bathing cloth after making it or having it made for one's own use is a pachitya offence, requiring that one cut the cloth down to size before confessing the offence. Obtaining an overly large robe cloth after making it or having it made for one's own use is a pachitya offence, requiring that one cut the robe down to size before confessing the offence. Food. Eating any of the 5 staple foods that a lay person has offered as the result of a bhikkhuni's prompting, unless the lay person was already planning to offer the food before her prompting, is a pachitya offence. Eating food obtained from the same public alms centre 2 days running without leaving in the interim, unless one is too ill to leave the centre, is a pachitya offence. Eating a meal to which 4 or more individual bhikkhus have been specifically invited, except on special occasions, is a pachitya offence. Eating a meal before going to another meal to which one was invited, or accepting an invitation to one meal and eating elsewhere instead, is a pachitya offence, except when one is ill or at the time of giving cloth or making robes. Accepting more than 3 bowlfuls of food that the donors prepared for their own use as present or as provisions for a journey is a pachitya offence. Having staple or non-staple food that is not left over, or having earlier in the day finished a meal during which one turned down an offer to eat further staple food is a pachitya offence. Eating staple or non-staple food in the period from noon till the next dawn is a pachitya offence. Eating food that a bhikkhu, oneself or another, formally received on a previous day is a pachitya offence. Eating finer staple foods after having asked for them for one's own sake, except when ill, is a pachitya offence. Eating food that has not been formally given is a pachitya offence. Eating staple or non-staple food after having accepted it from the hand of an unrelated bhikkhuni in a village area is a patidesaniya offence. Eating staple food accepted at a meal to which one has been invited and where a bhikkhuni has given directions based on favoritism as to which bhikkhu should get which food, and none of these bhikkhus have dismissed her, is a patidesaniya offence. Eating staple food or non-staple food after accepting it when one is neither ill nor invited at a home of a family formally designated as in training is a patidesaniya offence. Eating an unannounced gift of staple or non-staple food after accepting it in a dangerous wilderness abode when one is not ill is a patidesaniya offence. Lodgings. Building a plastered hut or having it built without a sponsor, destined for one's own use without having obtained the community's approval, is a sanghadisesa offence. Building a plastered hut or having it built without a sponsor, destined for one's own use, exceeding the standard measurements, is also a sanghadisesa offence. Building a hut with a sponsor or having it built, destined for one's own use, without having obtained the community's approval, is a sanghadisesa offence. When a bhikkhu is building or repairing a large dwelling for his own use, using resources donated by another, he may not reinforce the window or door frames with more than 3 layers of roofing material or plaster. To exceed this is a pachitya offence. Obtaining a bed or bench with legs longer than 8 sugata finger breadths after making it or having it made for one's own use is a pachitya offence, requiring that one cut the legs down before confessing the offence. Obtaining a bed or bench stuffed with cotton down after making it or having it made for one's own use is a pachitya offence, requiring that one remove the stuffing before confessing the offence. Medicine. Keeping any of the 5 tonics, ghee, fresh butter, oil, honey or sugar molasses for more than 7 days, unless one determines to use them only externally, is a nisaggiya pachitya offence. When a supporter has made an offer to supply medicines to the community, asking him or her for the medicine outside of the terms of the offer when one is not ill is a pacitya offence. Money. When a fund for one's individual use has been set up with a steward obtaining an article from the fund as a result of having prompted the steward more than the allowable number of times is a nisagiya pacitya offence. Accepting gold or money, having someone else accept it, or consenting to it being placed down as a gift for oneself is a nisagiya pacitya offence. Obtaining gold or money through trade is a nisagiya pacitya offence. Bowls and other requisites. Carrying wool that has not been made into cloth or yarn for more than 3 yojanas is a nisagiya pacitya offence. Keeping an alms bowl for more than 10 days without determining it for use or placing it under shared ownership is a nisagiya pacitya offence. Asking for and receiving new alms bowl when one's current bowl is not beyond repair is a nisagiya pacitya offence. Obtaining a needle box made out of bone, ivory or horn after making it or having it made for one's own use is a pacitya offence, requiring that one break the box before confessing the offence. Communal harmony. To persist after the third announcement of a formal rebuke in the community in trying to form a schismatic group or in taking up a position that can lead to schism is a sanghadisesa offence. To persist after the third announcement of a formal rebuke in the community in supporting a potential schismatic is a sanghadisesa offence. To persist after the third announcement of a formal rebuke in the community in being difficult to admonish is a sanghadisesa offence. To persist after the third announcement of a formal rebuke in the community in criticizing a banishment transaction performed against oneself is a sanghadisesa offence. When a trustworthy female lay follower accuses a bhikkhu of having committed a parajika, sanghadisesa or a pacitya offence while sitting alone with a woman in private, secluded place, the community should investigate the charge and deal with the bhikkhu in accordance with whatever he admits to have having done. When a trustworthy female lay follower accuses a bhikkhu of having committed a sanghadisesa or pacitya offence while sitting alone with a woman in an unsecluded but private place, the community should investigate the charge and deal with the bhikkhu in accordance with whatever he admits to having done. Telling an unordained person of another bhikkhu's serious offence, unless one is authorized by the community to do so, is a pacitya offence. Persistently relying evasively or keeping silent in order to conceal one's own offences when being questioned in a meeting of the community after a formal charge of evasive speech or being frustrating has been brought against one is a pacitya offence. If a community official is innocent of bias, criticizing him within earshot of another bhikkhu is a pacitya offence. When one has set a bed, bench, mattress or stool belonging to the community out in the open, leaving its immediate vicinity without putting it away, arranging to have it put away or taking leave is a pacitya offence. When one has spread bedding out in a dwelling belonging to the community, departing from the monastery without putting it away, arranging to have it put away or taking leave is a pacitya offence. Intruding on another bhikkhu's sleeping or sitting place in a dwelling belonging to the community, with the sole purpose of making him uncomfortable and forcing him to leave, is a pacitya offence. Causing a bhikkhu to be evicted from a dwelling belonging to the community when one's primary impulse is anger is a pacitya offence. Sitting or lying down on a bed or bench with detachable legs on an unplanked soft in a dwelling belonging to the community is a pacitya offence. Saying that a properly authorized bhikkhu exhorts the bhikkhunis for the sake of worldly gain, when in fact that is not the case, is a pacitya offence. Deliberately tricking another bhikkhu into breaking pacitya 35 in hopes of finding fault with him is a pacitya offence. Speaking or acting disrespectfully after having been admonished by another bhikkhu for a breach of the training rules is a pacitya offence. Agitating to reopen an issue, knowing that it was properly dealt with, is a pacitya offence. Not informing another bhikkhu of a serious offence that one knows a third bhikkhu has committed, out of a desire to protect the third bhikkhu either from having to undergo the penalty or from the jeering remarks of other bhikkhus, is a pacitya offence. Acting as the preceptor in the full acceptance ordination of a person one knows to be less than 20 years old is a pacitya offence. Refusing after the third announcement of a formal rebuke in a meeting of the community to relinquish the evil view that there is nothing wrong in intentionally transgressing the Buddha's ordinances is a pacitya offence. Communing, affiliating, or lying down under the same roof with a bhikkhu who has been suspended and not been restored, knowing that such is the case, is a pacitya offence. Befriending, receiving services from, communing, or lying down under the same roof with an expelled novice, knowing that he has been expelled, is a pacitya offence. When being admonished by another bhikkhu with regard to a training rule formulated in the Vinaya, saying something as a ploy to excuse oneself from training under the rule is a pacitya offence. Criticizing the discipline in the presence of another bhikkhu in hopes of making him skeptical about the discipline or its study is a pacitya offence. Using half-truths to deceive others into believing that one is ignorant of the rules of the Patimokkha after one has already heard the Patimokkha in full 3 times, and a transaction exposing one's deceit has been brought against one is a pacitya offence. Giving a blow to another bhikkhu when impelled by anger, except in self-defence, is a pacitya offence. Making a threatening gesture against another bhikkhu when impelled by anger, except in self-defence, is a pacitya offence. Intentionally provoking anxiety in another bhikkhu that he may have broken a rule, when one has no other purpose in mind, is a pacitya offence. Eavesdropping on bhikkhus involved in an argument over an issue with the intention of using what they say against them is a pacitya offence. Complaining about a community transaction to which one gave one's consent, if one perceives the transaction as having been carried out in accordance with the rule, is a pacitya offence. Getting up and leaving a meeting of the community in the midst of valid transaction that one knows to be valid without having first given one's consent to the transaction and with the intention of validating it is a pacitya offence. After participating in a community transaction, giving robe cloth to a community official, complaining that the community acted out of favoritism is a pacitya offence. When the community is dealing formally with an issue, the full community must be present, as must all the individuals involved in the issue. The proceedings must follow the patterns set out in the Dhamma and Vinaya. If the community unanimously believes that a bhikkhu is innocent of a charge made against him, they may issue a transaction declaring him innocent on the basis of his memory of the events. If the community unanimously believes that a bhikkhu was insane while committing offences against the rules, they may issue a transaction absolving him of any responsibility for the offences. If a bhikkhu commits an offence, he should willingly undergo the appropriate penalty in line with what he actually did in the actual seriousness of the offence. If an important dispute cannot be settled by an unanimous decision, it should be submitted to a vote. The opinion of the majority, if in accord with the Dhamma Vinaya, is then considered decisive. If a bhikkhu admits to an offence only after being interrogated in a formal meeting, the community should carry out a further punishment transaction against him, rescinding it only when he has mended his ways. If in the course of a dispute both sides act in ways unworthy of contemplatives, and the sorting out of the penalties would only prolong the dispute, the community as a whole may make a blanket confession of its light offences. The etiquette of a contemplative. Training a novice or layperson to recite passages of Dhamma by rote is a pacitya offence. Lying down at the same time in the same lodging with a novice or layman for more than 3 nights running is a pacitya offence. Digging soil or commanding that it be dug is a pacitya offence. Intentionally cutting, burning or killing a living plant is a pacitya offence. Handing food or medicine to a person ordained in another religion is a pacitya offence. Sending another bhikkhu away so that he won't witness any misconduct one is planning to indulge in is a pacitya offence. To sit down intruding on a man and a woman in their private quarters when one or both are sexually aroused, and when another bhikkhu is not present is a pacitya offence. Watching a field army or similar military force on active duty, unless there is a suitable reason, is a pacitya offence. Staying more than 3 consecutive nights with an army on active duty, even when one has a suitable reason to be there, is a pacitya offence. Going to a battlefield or roll call an array of the troops in battle formation, or to see a review of the battle units while one is staying with an army is a pacitya offence. Taking an intoxicant is a pacitya offence, regardless of whether one is aware that it is an intoxicant. Tickling another bhikkhu is a pacitya offence. Jumping and swimming in the water for fun is a pacitya offence. Attempting to frighten another bhikkhu is a pacitya offence. Lighting a fire to warm oneself or having it lit when one does not need the warmth for one's health is a pacitya offence. Bathing more frequently than once a fortnight when residing in the middle Ganges Valley except on certain occasions, is a Pachitya offence. Hiding another bhikkhu's bowl, robe, sitting cloth, needle case or belt, or having it hidden, either as a joke or with the purpose of annoying him, is a Pachitya offence. Travelling by arrangement with a group of thieves from one village to another, knowing that they are thieves, is a Pachitya offence. Entering a king's sleeping chamber unannounced when both the king and queen are in the chamber is a Pachitya offence. Picking up a valuable or having it picked up with the intention of putting it in safe keeping for the owner, except when one finds it in a monastery or dwelling one is visiting, is a Pachitya offence. This ends the rule index in the Patimokkha, the Buddhist Monastic Code, Part 1. Which has been translated and explained by Thanisaro Bhikkhu and read by myself, Pratpanya Baro, at Wat Mahatat, Kings Bromley, on Monday the 28th of February 2022. Thank you for your attention. Sadhu.